Finkenauer, Chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Rural Development, Agricultural Trade, Entrepreneurship from Iowa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate being here today, and thank you all for coming all this way as well. I know you guys have a lot of demands on your time right now, so it means a lot that you took this to be here. I'm from Iowa. We actually, today, we now have 8 Iowans that have tested positive, and it's something, my biggest concern is obviously the health and safety of my constituents and Iowans and folks across the country. I know our office, we've been in touch with all of the hospitals in the district personally as well, making sure that we are keeping that line of communication open, hearing what people need, making sure that we're providing that. And I think that's one of the things that is going to be most important across the country, making sure that those lines of communication are open and that they're getting to the right resources. One of the other things that is then, next on my list after health and safety is our economy in Iowa and across the country as well, and how our employers are doing, as well as our employees who, devote so much of their lives to making the world go around in Iowa and across the country. And so I was happy, last week we were able to pass the emergency loans to make sure, $7 billion in emergency loans that the Small Business Administration would be able to provide with businesses being affected. But I do have more questions for the Small Business Administration. I know you guys are not able to answer those, but I figured maybe the best way to do this would be kind of tell you what I want to know from them and then also how it would be affecting you. So one of the things that I want to know is making sure, that we are getting this information out to people across the country and to our small businesses, and how are we ensuring that that is happening? And so I know Mr. Chow and Mr. Allenby, you guys are on the front lines of this, working with small business owners across the country. And what have you seen so far as the outreach, and what could we be doing better?
I'll make mine pretty short. So there's right now, I guess in the age of the internet, a lot of the small business groups and network is online. So I can name a couple that we're part of. Prior to this hearing, I solicited some of the network from Asian Hustle Network. It's called AHN. There's another set of LinkedIn networks that we have. And so there's a lot of these Facebook groups that we've been talking about. What are you doing? And so in each of these big metropolitan areas, there's also localized versions. There's Chamber of Commerce's. There's other versions of the Chamber of Commerce's online. So I would recommend the government generally tap into some of these key stakeholders, a part of each of these big networks, and disseminate information. Being at this hearing today, I think, is a major step toward that.
Yeah. What about you, Mr. Allenby?
Yes, thank you. Absolutely, the trade associations
Yep.
is a perfect way to get the information out and also solicit feedback. Certainly, chambers of commerce as well. So I agree with both areas.
Okay, great. And then the other thing, I know, again, we passed that $7 billion, but this is the question for a Small Business Administration, is how quickly can we get that out to the folks who need it? But my question for you then is, how quickly do you need it? Yesterday, I know, but
I would love to answer yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday. And also, I want to preface what I mentioned in my testimony was that easing the regulations for collateral.
yeah.
So I think that's a very, very careful area.
Okay, that's helpful. Mr. Chow.
I just second that. I think we were talking before this that many of these small businesses are already on kind of their last leg on their working capital. So it's been months, 2 months at least, for some of these businesses. So sooner the better.
Yeah, and with that, I know the big thing for me too is making sure this is getting out to folks so that when we have employees that, need to have time off, they're able to do it and they're able to get their paychecks. And it's just incredibly important. And these are the types of things that need to be thought about, again, all across the country. So I'm grateful that you guys are here having those discussions. And I hope the Small Business Administration, I'll be also reaching out to them with more of these questions. But I want to know, are they reallocating employees, making sure that there is, more for the bandwidth to be able to handle these loans and get them out in a timely manner, and what are the contingency plans for all of that. So I think there's a lot we need to be doing, following up, making sure these are getting out the way that they are, because I know just hearing your testimony today how important this is. So thank you for being here, and I know we all still have a lot more work to do. So thank you.
The gentle lady yields back, and I would like to share with you that yesterday we reached out to the Small Business Administration. We requested